This is it's a factory that they just built in China. And what's special about this factory, let me see if I can get it here, is it apparently can be run entirely without any humans whatsoever. And it can build a one smartphone every second. What's the number on that one, guys? I'm trying to find it on this chart.
That's crazy. A second?
It is, it's 306, it's just B-roll. But this is a factory that exists. It can do one phone a second, so that's about 86,000, I think it's 86,400 phones a day. It operates in darkness, because it doesn't need any humans at it, so they don't need light. And it, pumps out a phone every second, and they have the Chinese company that designed it has some like creepy, ominous, dystopian video future, and
wow,
it would all be in Chinese. Yeah,
I mean, so how many seconds are there in a day? 68,000 seconds.
86,400.
86,000 seconds.
Yep.
Okay. So how many phones does Apple currently produce a day? They probably have to produce that way more than that a day, right?
Let me think. Let's search annual iPhone sales. They sell units sold. They sell 232 million phones in 23.
How many?
232 million.
This says...
Wait, I'm sorry, 232 million.
Yes, worldwide.
Okay, so wait, hold on. That means that they have to produce...
a lot more than one a second.
They have to produce like 1,000 a second.
Yeah, so 86, one a second for a whole year would be about 30 million.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. You have to scale it out. So they have to... So, but is this for Apple or is this for some other company?
I believe it's just a different Chinese company. China has some very strong smartphone makers.
Oh, that's my question. So, Jack, in China, what phone does Lao Baijing, the people of China, use? What hardware do they use?
Probably either Xiaomi or Huawei.
So they don't use Apple.
The biggest. You know,
they don't use Apple.
I mean, in addition to Apple.
No, are Apple devices used by mainland Chinese?
Yeah, they are, but they're typically considered like luxury items. They're usually bought abroad as opposed to bought domestically.
Okay. So,
I just dropped in the chat. It's 500,000 a day iPhone at the Foxconn factory in China.
500,000 a day,
and then it's 350,000 employees.
That's crazy
to make 500,000 a day.
And this is no employees.
Yeah,
right,
so this was a Xiaomi factory.
Do you think this is all hype, or do you think this is real?
I think it's real. Yeah, so this is kind of why we wanted to discuss it. Is I think
because everyone tells me it's hype, blah blah, blah, it's cope.
It's definitely cope. So the thing is you often get the take of China that China succeeds in manufacturing because it's slave labor. You'll come in here. It's sweatshop labor. They just beat us on cost. That is not accurate anymore, and it's actually become less accurate super quickly. Like the difference between the China of 2028. 17 years ago when they hosted the Olympics, 2008 Beijing Olympics to today, massive gap in what China is like. Or even just 5 years ago. 5 years ago, China exported almost no cars. Now they're the largest car exporter in the world. And it's because they dominate in electric cars specifically. China also they install, in a given year, they install about half of all robots that are used in a factory setting. And this pervades a ton of things. So for like 5G, when you hear about 5G, what do you think about?
Russia.
Really?
I think about towers.
Okay, like cell tower. Yeah, exactly. Or people think about like, cell phone radiation is going to give them brain cancer or whatever.
Sure.
5G is actually not just about cell phones. One of the biggest things about 5G is you can use it to interface 1 billion robots in your factory and have them all be like super reliable, and they're getting a super reliable signal, and you can have your entire factory be so much more advanced and complicated and all of that. And when I say that is like we talk about America reindustrializing, and I think a lot of people, they have this nostalgic vision of what manufacturing is, and they're like, oh, it was so cool when America had steel plants, and this guy could go in with a hard hat and work in his steel plant for 40 hours a week, and he would make this middle class income and have a wife and his 2.7 kids. And I'm not sure if people totally realize what manufacturing is at this point and what it would mean to bring it back to America. And
Joe Biden may be gone, but his so-called Inflation Reduction Act is still here, making life worse for the American people. President Trump has inherited a disaster from Joe Biden. Biden raided hundreds of billions of dollars from Medicare and used it to fund things like green energy giveaways. We've been covering that on our show. And what did Americans get? We just got stuck with the bill. But one of the most devastating aspects of Biden's Inflation Reduction Act is a hidden provision known as the Biden pill penalty, a policy that's gutted funding for the development of potential life-saving medicines. In just the last 3 years, investments plummeted, forcing researchers to abandon potential breakthroughs for cancer, Alzheimer's, and other deadly diseases. Promising drugs that could have extended lives and even led to cures are now on the chopping block. It goes after basic incentives. So what does that mean for you? It means potentially fewer cures and higher costs. The good news is that President Trump is back and Republicans control Congress. Call them today and urge Congress to eliminate the Biden pill penalty before more potential cures are lost.
It's sort of...
So, yeah, let me read something from a top businessman. I'm not going to say who, but you guys would all know the name. And I want you to say, because actually this was part of a group chat. I'm on like 900 group chats. And this video got popped up. Someone put it in there and said, quote, America does not have enough people. China has 4 times our population. Continues by saying, China is extremely automated, so much more so than America. Labor costs are not low in China. What they have are a very large-scale number of hardworking engineers and factory managers.
Exactly. So it's
So do you agree with all that? Do you think we don't have enough people? Like,
I don't think it's number of people. A lot of it is what those people learn. And it's sort of that China it's taken decades to get to this point. So it's that in China, it's prestigious to run a factory. It's prestigious to be good at the stuff that goes into designing a factory.
you could make a good living doing
You can
it.
make a good living, but it is truly prestigious. Whereas even if you wanted to own, like, let's say you wanted to grow up and be a chemicals manufacturer in America. Charlie, how do you become a chemicals manufacturer in America?
I don't really know.
Like, what degree do you get?
I don't
Where do you go to school?
There's also no, if you tell that to your neighbor, they're like, okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, exactly.
There's no like status symbol.
Yeah, like what's the funnel to go into it? It almost probably would be dumb luck. Okay, you major in, you either get a business
Chemical
degree or you
engineering or
major in a chemical engineering, and you hopefully end up at the right company. And even then, you're probably at that company. What would you do if you wanted to go your own way and build your own facility from scratch? Hugely difficult to imagine that. But in China, they've been doing it for decades at this point. So now what you have is, in China, you'll have millions of people with experience in running a factory.
Right.
So they know how a factory runs. How do you start? How do you build a factory? They know how to build a factory. And you have regulators who are familiar with, okay, how do we approve building a factory? How do we make sure it happens quickly? What are the possible downsides? It's all that expertise stuff that goes into it. And the culmination is you can do that really automated stuff that's incredibly impressive. And once you have the advantage there, it's a lot harder to lose it. If your only advantage is having lower labor costs, then someone beats you by having even lower labor costs. And that's happened.
They have other advantages.
Like you don't make shoes as much in China anymore. You make those in Vietnam or Bangladesh. You make them in places where they actually is lower labor, and they've chosen to specialize in that. But if their specialty is, we have the absolute most advanced robots that can build a phone a second with no human input other than fixing a machine when it breaks, how do you beat that, Charlie?
I don't know. And this is the other problem is that if you try to bring back, which we should, industrial manufacturing, you're going to run into major labor unions. I mean, they don't have labor unions in China. Like, not like this. I mean, they might have some form of you could correct me if I'm wrong, Blake, but I don't think they have, let's just say, the UAW.
That's part of the irony.
Commies don't put up with unions.
That's part
right?
of the irony, though. That's actually why they have so much automation. There are Chinese factories where the quality of life in the factory is so bad that a worker would come in, like they would have a 100% turnover every 6 months. And so the fix is mass automation. What you have in America, we saw this with the longshoremen, is like we want to.
That's a very that's a sore topic around here.
Admittedly, but that was an actual dispute they had, which is they opposed automation, and the deal they reached was don't automate.
This like wildly overweight soprano type comes in. I'm gonna shut down the ports if you give me what I want. All right. It's just not my favorite topic. All right.
Yeah.